What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys my You Season 4 Part 2 theories and what I am expecting. So I'm going to be talking about some of the theories that I've seen and my expectations from You Season 4 Part 2 after I've now watched Part 1. Check out my reactions if you haven't already. And I've seen the preview for Part 2. I've written a couple of notes on my phone and I'm just going to talk about each one. The first one is a pretty interesting theory that I've seen other people have, and I was kind of considering it as well. And is Rhys real, or is he a figment of Joe's imagination? So I was kind of thinking that Rhys was a figment of Joe's imagination at some point, because the only time Joe and Rhys would interact was when there was no one else around. Yes, Rhys was in public places like the art gallery when Simon's show was going on. He was at Soho Club when Joe first went with Malcolm and the rest of the group, but they only really interacted when the rest of the group was off doing something else. They talk right after Joe finishes his conversation with Adam. They talk right after Joe goes off to the corner and sits by himself. At the funeral, like a wake, I guess you would call it, when they're all in the penthouse, Rhys goes outside and then Joe follows him out to have a conversation. They're always talking when they're alone. But I don't necessarily think that I'm on board with this one anymore, because Nadia does give Joe the book that introduces him to Rhys Montrose. And I don't know, I don't think that Joe and Nadia are crazy, and I don't think that Nadia and Rhys are figments of Joe's imagination. There's also the fact that they keep reminding us that Rhys is running for mayor. And again, when Joe sees the announcement that Rhys has finally admitted that he is running for mayor, he is alone in his apartment. So again, suspect, and does kind of lead you to believe that Rhys is a figment of Joe's imagination. But I just feel like that's so heavy-handed. I just don't think that that's the case. I think Rhys is very much a real person. Now, his connection to Joe, some people were saying that they could be brothers or know each other from some, past life that Joe has had. He has quite a history at this point, from the group homes to his life in New York, his life in LA. Maybe he met Rhys at some point or whatever. I don't necessarily know that. I don't think that he knows Rhys from a can of paint. I think that Rhys is just, the crazy villainous person that we're getting to see this season, but I could be wrong. These are all just theories and thoughts, and I'm kind of hoping that Rhys is a real person that doesn't know Joe previously, because I want to see a really good cat and mouse between them in part 2 of season 4. I love like cat and mouse games on television, whether it's between a criminal and the police, or if it's between like a serial killer and a detective that just won't give it up, just different things like that. I love a good cat and mouse game. So I want to see that with Rhys and Joe, because they both seem highly intelligent, highly manipulative, and they're both murderous. So I'm looking forward to that. My second note here is, will more friends die? It looks like from the preview that kind of answers my question. Some of them were looking very scared, running away. So I think Rhys is going to continue with his plan of knocking off the friend group one by one. And maybe we will get to see why exactly he's doing this in part 2. Maybe they wronged him in some type of way and we get some big reveal. Or does he really just hate rich people? I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe they did scorn him at some point. But yeah, to answer that question, will more friends die? I'm definitely expecting for a couple of more friends to drop in part 2. Hopefully one of the bodies that drop is not Phoebe, because I've grown attached. I think she's funny. I think she's adorable. I don't want her to die. Joe and Kate, that is my next note on the list. Even though Joe does turn Kate away at the end of part 1, I don't think that he's going to be able to stick to that. He does have some interaction, it looks like, with the friend group in part 2, and I don't think that they're going to just be able to detach from each other, real clean like. So I think that they're still going to have their moments and their, kind of pull apart, pull together, pull apart, pull together. And I'm not mad at it, but like I've said in previous reactions, I'm a big Marienne fan, so I'm not really here for Kate. I also don't think that him and Kate can have much of a relationship, because Kate seems to have a very strong sense of justice. She doesn't want anything to do with her father because of that, so I don't see her getting involved with Joe if he does tell her about his past. The next note that I have here is Marienne. I hope that part 1, the interaction between her and Joe in that like storage facility or whatever it was, is not the last that we see of Marienne, and I don't think it will be. Like, the whole reason why he's in London is because of Marienne. So for them to just pluck her from the story and leave, their situation like that, the way that it ended, I would not like that at all. I'm hoping that they can get together again at some point and have more of a resolve, because I don't know, I just want a better ending for them. I want some closure for them because I really like Joe and Marianne together. Last but not least, the last topic or kind of question on my list is, will this season be the end of Joe? I don't think that this season will be the end of Joe. The show is doing too well for Netflix. And I still think that despite some people saying that they're bored with you and kind of like the pattern, I do think that this season was self-aware in a way where it was kind of like, in the beginning where Nadia is telling him about murder mysteries, and she's like, yeah, it might be formulaic, it might be predictable, but just relax and have fun. It had a certain type of self-awareness to it. And I don't think that everyone is tired of seeing Joe yet, because I know I'm not tired of seeing Joe. And this season shows that they can break away from their usual, do something different, put him in different environments, and it will still make for an interesting show. Also, I feel like I heard on a podcast or maybe read in an article, I don't really remember where I heard it, but I think that they've like reserved or like prepaid him for like 6 to 8 seasons. It might have been 6, might have been 8, I don't remember. So I don't think that the season 4 finale will be the last that we see of Joe. Down below in the comment section, let me know some of your thoughts, theories, and conspiracies about You season 4. I'm looking forward to reading them. Talk to me, I do talk back, and I will check y'all out in the next one.